Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve Laraziliere. Today's guest is Bob Gild from Craftworks USA. How you doing, Bob?
Good.
Hi. Hey, why don't you tell everybody about Craftworks USA? What do you guys do?
So we're a commercial architectural woodwork outfit in the Pittsburgh area, nationwide service. We do work for GC's client direct, between higher-end product, work handling, reception desks, that sort of thing.
Awesome. How'd you get your start in the business?
So I actually went to school for product design, and when I got out, I landed in some custom furniture design and high-end built-ins. Shortly thereafter, I got into commercial drafting. They brought me into estimating, and it kind of blossomed from there. When I found Rycon, who's our parent company, it was kind of a perfect fit because most commercial millwork places you draw what's on the architectural drawings. Here I got to explore the design side of things, the business side of things a little bit more, so it's been an interesting road, but it was a perfect fit.
That's awesome. And how long you been with Craftworks?
So 13 and a half years.
What keeps you there so long?
It's the diversity. I get to dabble in a lot of different things. I've grown this place from a 10,000 square foot shop. We're a 52,000 square foot facility now.
Amazing.
So it's always something new. It's always something exciting and different that we get to touch.
How many employees do you guys have?
Between the office and the shop, we got about 50 people working for us here.
That's incredible. What was it? How many people was it when you first started?
Oh, probably it was me in the office. Probably less than 10.
Less than 10. Wow. What do you think contributed to the growth?
I think it's the way we approach projects. When I started here, I came from a bigger firm that kind of you fell into their schedule. You kind of worked around them. You followed the chain of events.
Yeah.
What we do here is we kind of drive it. We're working closely with GCs, telling them what they need to do to get us ready so we can get their product on time. We're helping them work around the different logistical problems that happen on projects with, delays on sites from X, Y, or Z other contractors that we usually wait for, and other millworkers would say, like, we can't touch this until we're developing ways to touch it earlier.
Yeah. So part of the value add is that you probably bring a set of other skills and services that help push the project along.
Right. So when we were created, we were built out of necessity to kind of help supplement their projects, and a lot of times that met demands that other people would kind of shy away from. We got creative in figuring it out. So what we do is we offer that for all of our clients. We got a lot of clients that come to us because a lot of other people have said no, they can't do it, no, their schedule doesn't work.
Yeah.
And we're pretty creative in ways to figure that out a lot of times.
And most of the work is done in the Pittsburgh area?
Yeah, so everything we produce out of our two shops here, two buildings here on our Oakdale campus. And like I said, we ship nationwide all the way out to California.
And install or just ship?
We do install. We work with a lot of close partners on install a lot of times, and we also do self-perform some of them.
Cool. Very cool. And as the role of VP, what do you oversee? What's under your domain?
So I handle a lot of the engineering side of things, some strategic stuff too. But we have me and another partner of mine, Danielle. She handles the business side of things a lot, and project management side. And I do a lot of the design, the build methods. Right now, it's a lot of training, teaching, which has kind of been the challenge for me. Coming from a technical side, know, the right answer to fix a field check bust or, different things like that would come up. But to train people has been a little bit more challenging because you got to figure out how they want to learn and kind of do it their way. So,
For sure, for sure. And assuming underneath that, that's probably a lot of like coaching and mentoring folks to get them to perform to the highest standard as possible, right?
right, right. So you see something in somebody and you want to develop that. They don't necessarily know that it's there.
Mm,
So prying that out of them along the way has been an interesting kind of development for me, transition, because coming from a design background, you meet with a client, and determine what they want. It's pretty easy. They're sharing that with you. When you're teaching somebody, though, they don't necessarily know that they have that in them. They don't know that what you see is something that's worth developing, and then it's a longer road to get them to understand that. And then when they see it, that kind of aha moment, it's pretty cool. But
that is
it's
very cool.
good for sure.
What like give us an example of a project that you've recently finished or built or you're working on right now.
Well, we have a few of them. I think currently we have about 40 some projects on our books. Um, right now we're working with a couple local universities. And this is one of the cool parts is they called me and they have this artwork that's being donated. So I'm working on doing some designs for them on how we're going to build a paneling system around it and protect the artwork,
Mm,
casing it. So it's cool that they're reaching out directly to us to kind of problem solve on those sorts of things.
yeah, yeah. And your customer list is incredibly impressive from uh, Yosemite National Park, the Field Museum. I'm in Chicago, and the Chicago Field Museum,
Very nice.
Georgetown University, University of Pittsburgh. Um, yeah, it's how do you get most of your client projects?
So we got a lot of good clients, a lot of word of mouth. Our clients are demanding, but they like a quality finished product.
Hmm.
So a lot of our people are bringing us to their projects when they're getting involved in them, when they transfer from one to the other. So it's been neat, the people that we get to work for and the projects that we get to work on.
Um, and so can you walk us through the process of like when a project comes in, like how did like what are the different phases
Sure.
that happen? Yeah.
So when we get the project, it's usually an invitation. Decide whether it's a good fit or not. Run it through our estimating department, put a good number to it. Um, Try and figure out where it fits in schedule. That's part of the bid process. When we get it, it goes over to the project management team. They kind of take it and work alongside of drafting and engineering to get both sides of it running. So sample submittals, drawing submittals, that sort of thing. As both of them are running concurrently, we get it to a submittal date. They go off to the architect or the client for approval. When they come back, we incorporate the marks and get field checks all at once. We try and do. So we're incorporating the field checks and the architect's notes at one time, so we're not touching the drawings a bunch of times. From there, it goes to engineers who break down parts, gets programmed, cut, and built through the shop. Then we are loading it, getting it to site, and either coordinating a delivery or an install.
Where is most of the hiccups, you think?
Um, So it's not necessarily a hiccup, but the bottlenecks tend to be in drafting and engineering when we first get a job. And I've
Hmm.
always made the analogy that there's this bubble that kind of flows through. So estimating gets real busy, and then we transition into project management. That's where the bubble lives now. When project manage, there's too many projects for project managers to kind of get through at one time. So then that's the bubble. That's where the bottleneck is. That usually goes through drafting, and then usually by the time it gets to the shop floor, it's a smaller, more manageable thing. But there's still sometimes a surge that goes out there. So the trick is to try and balance all of that out, so we can have people step in different roles and help out in different areas to lower the impact to any one department at one time.
Um, and then what systems and technology are you using to help with the sort of either, to help increase efficiency or client communication? What do you guys use internally?
So last year, or beginning of this year, we invested in energy.
Okay.
Before that, we were doing a bunch of spreadsheets, to kind of a bunch of different spreadsheets that were all tied together.
Yeah.
Um, and we invested in energy to kind of tie all that stuff together.
Okay. And it handles most of everything that you need.
Yeah, so I always make the analogy that, through our spreadsheets, we were doing it longhand, and that was all the minutia in tracking and logging that taught us what was important to look for. Energy was kind of a tool, and how do you bring that all together with the user interface, something that's more comfortable for people to use. It's all in one place. You're reworking in a bunch of different areas. So that's been the tool that we've been building upon right now.
Cool. How do you measure, the effectiveness of a project or like what does success look like for you guys?
So the first thing that matters is client satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can make money on a project, but if you have an unhappy client, that's going to be the last project you do with them. So that's the most important thing. I think schedule and the success of the project are both kind of going hand in hand. Profitability is obviously something that we worry about, but it all kind of boils back to client satisfaction. So the job could be delayed for X, Y, or Z reason, but as long as at the end of the day the client's happy, that's really what matters.
For sure. There's so many different moving parts in what you do. I mean, I can imagine it's overwhelming. And as you're looking at these really big, long projects, everyone has a different detail. Like, I mean, you as a leader managing the design process, like how are you sort of staying organized and focused and sort of pushing for it? Because when you're doing a big project and there's like one slip up and then it just like boom, 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 and it's like this crazy spiral effect of like, oh my God, like this thing has devolved. And like how do you have a process for like sort of managing that and thinking through that sort of stuff?
It's been one of our biggest initiatives this year is kind of coming up with an initial game plan. You're right. When you fall, it's so hard to get back up because there's other work coming. It just compounds on top of each other, and it's a choke point for so long. One little slip up is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So, made a big effort and come up with a game plan. How are we gonna, strategically get through this project and implementing that plan the whole way through. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have internal and external curveballs that get thrown at you. When we get
Yeah.
something internal, they're usually easier to fix. We can redirect it. But if it's an external thing, like HVAC system isn't going to come on time
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
delay, whatever. What do we do? How are we going to keep this moving? Um, and if as long as we can kind of stay the course of the plan through the project, it's been very successful this year. So we're excited about the development of that.
What sort of as a leader that's been at a company for a long time, how are you developing yourself as a leader?
I try constantly. So there's all the leadership stuff out there. That, a lot of it becomes cliche, but the message is still important. I'm constantly trying to learn how to relate to people better, how to build upon your teams, how to, create stepping stones for them so they can have a clear career path and moving up. It's honestly a struggle point for me because, coming from the technical side and the design side of things, it's so easy for me to sit in front of a computer and just knock stuff out, draw it,
Yeah.
design it, figure out the joinery, all that. That's
Yourself and do it yourself.
what I used to do, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Transitioning to, trying to teach people that, and it requires a lot of learning for me to teach that because it's not so cut and dry. It's more conceptual. It's a longer process. Patience isn't one of my strong suits either, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's hard to appreciate. It's not hard. It just takes a long time for the implementation to kind of come into place and to watch these people develop. But it's neat to see the people develop.
What do you think of the hallmarks of a successful millworks company? Like, what do you think? Like, what are the top top 3 to 5 characteristics of what would make a successful business like yours?
I think it's probably different for a lot of different millwork companies. For us, it's been delivering on our promises.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's something that a lot of companies fall short on. That's how we get brought into a lot. That's how we meet a lot of our clients. So that's definitely
Because
one of them.
somebody messed up.
Or somebody messed up, somebody couldn't deliver, or somebody, underbid something, that sort of thing. And they find out midway through the project, and it's, hey guys, we need help, and that's how we get brought in. We've had quite a few of those projects. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
We develop client relations through that. So that's probably one of the big ones. Another big one would be quality. So you could be making drawer boxes, you could be making shelves. Just make the best ones you can, you know.
Yeah.
Um, there's the quality comes up a lot on these projects, and that's something where I think we pride ourselves in putting a really good product out there.
For sure. For sure. What does the future look like for you guys? Are you reached the level that where you're at, or are you looking to grow more?
We're looking to grow, but we're looking to grow in different ways. So capped out our revenue last year and this year. We're kind of trying to maintain that. So we're trying to pace the growth, and we're trying to just do a better job at that revenue right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
that's been a whole interesting challenge of itself, and you find a lot of opportunity in there. So it's
Yeah.
ones to tackle first. So I think we're gonna kind of for the longest time it's been grow, 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 and we've achieved that. It's been a challenge to grow quickly, and now what we're trying to do is manage that a little bit so it's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier for all of our people to deal with and develop. Because when
Yeah.
you're constantly running and gunning, eventually you're running out of steam. So um, that's what we've been focusing on.
Um, how, and I'm assuming the thing that I found with a lot of Millworks folks is that they've somehow been good at retaining people for a long time. There are people that have been at the company for a long time. Do you guys have that as well?
That's actually a struggle point that we had a few years ago. But we have an excellent core group right now. They've been here for a little while, and we're excited. They're from different trades. They're learning. They're excited. They got a passion, which is awesome. It's awesome to watch them kind of learn this trade, be excited about it. They all like each other. I mean, it's a really great group core that we have right now. So yeah, we do have it, but it's kind of new for us because before when we were, under the rapid growth, it was a challenge. I mean, we had a lot of work to do. Probably not enough people at the time to do it because you can't find people that are experienced enough to just hit the ground running. So we kind of rounded that bend. I want to say 2020, somewhere around there, and we really turned it around. Started to see this group develop, and it's been really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so this is the part of the podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. Is there anything that you need help with or need something to think through?
I've listened to a few of your podcasts here, and I thought about this a little bit, and I think like a lot of the other millwork shops right now, we have a great client base. So we're trying to learn, the right times to say no so we can grow the way we want to grow. But I think as an industry, my question would be, how do we as an industry?
We are just releasing our latest training. And over this training, I go over how I helped generate $200,000 and 300 leads for clients. And during this 45-minute training, we will go over the frameworks, the strategies, and the concepts that you need to scale from 6 figures to 7 figures, or even just get started. These are the building blocks that I've seen help wood, lumber, furniture, millwork companies grow and scale. So I've been hearing it lots of times, like, I just need a training, I need a training, I need a training. So we finally put it together. So wherever you're consuming this, just click the link in the description and you'll be able to access it.
Keep the mindset, develop the mindset, or help that mindset grow of best value over lowest cost or best cost. How do we
Mm.
kind of unite to promote that? Because
Mm. That's a great question. You're gonna make me think for this one. That's a great question. So the thing is that, like, you have your clients and their sort of partners, like, the GCs or the architects. They're trying to stay under budgets and trying to pinch away at, profitability. And then meanwhile, you have this very human and resource intensive sector of millworks, that it's like you're doing the actual work that gets placed in the spaces and it's capital intensive, it's human intensive, it's like equipment intensive. And like so the question is, how do you demonstrate value over saving a percentage point in margins here and there? Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. And you get a bid set of drawings, and it shows all the design fluff that's in there. They want
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
solid brass, they want the quarter figured whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So the thing that I think about is like luxury cars, right? Um, Nobody's ever going to question a Mercedes or a Maybach or a Bentley, like ever.
right,
And at the same time, that's literally what you guys are doing.
right, right.
The care, the craftsmanship, the people that have dedicated their life to this to their trade, and you're doing things that like literally will be in existence for hundreds of years. So the way that I think about that um, is marketing and storytelling, and really building up and propping up the millwork industry as a higher tier of craftsmanship, and it's not like this versus concrete, right? You know what I mean? Or this versus electricians or what have you. But there's an art in addition to, a science, an engineering, a design aspect to what you do. And I think the millwork industry actually needs to tell better stories and educate clients onto the actual process. So it's kind of like you are manufacturers of luxury,
Right.
of architectural luxury, right?
Yeah,
And and having people understand that and treasure that, because like you could, especially a company like of you and your size. I mean, again, I go back to like you're like, I mean, you ever seen those videos on YouTube about a Bentley being made or a Ferrari being made?
right.
And they show like, oh yeah, this person that designs the leather for this Ferrari came from these cows in Italy, right? And then the person that touches it, that makes the leathers in the Ferrari has been in the family for like 50. He's the second generation, and that's literally what you guys are doing.
That's
Like
fair.
I've talked to lots of other millwork people, and they're like, yeah, what our oldest employee is, has been here for 40 years, 30 years. The tools may get more efficient, but the trade doesn't go anywhere, and it's an old trade. And so I think that's it. I feel like there needs to be a more concerted effort to place a higher value on the storytelling aspect of the millwork industry.
Makes
Be-
sense.
because again, maybe the last thing is, it's not you're not carpenters, like you're designers, you're fabricators, you're mixing different mediums and materials to create a feeling, an emotion. You're creating a space that will educate future generations or inspire city goers or help people sell more food, right? Like, you know what I mean? So the it's less about price but more about the it's less about price but more about the value. So I would say maybe the action step is, as you are placing bids and you look at who the people that you're bidding to, I would actually add a value price to it, in addition to, like, because you have your time, your materials, your costs, your overhead. Like literally add a value tax to your bids. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, I'm looking at your list, right, of clients. I'm like, come on, you work with billion-dollar companies, like multi-billion-dollar industries and companies and institutions that are going to be around uh, for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. Stuff's right.
It will out. I mean,
Well, yeah,
look,
they should, right.
Yosemite National Park is
Right.
150 years old, right? Like,
Everywhere.
So anyway, is that helpful?
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and I think you landed on something in the middle of that too with the education. That's always been something that we get excited when we get to get involved in that, like lunch and learns, different things like that, and we get architectural firms out, talk to them. So I think
Yeah,
that's got to be a continuing effort, probably, like I said, for everybody.
for
Um,
sure.
Nobody wants to compete against the trunk slammers that, lick them, stick them, and get out of there. They forget about the job.
Stick 'em, yeah, yeah, yeah,
We got a reputation, and we want to maintain that. So,
for
and there's
sure,
other
for sure.
quality firms out there.
Cool. Well, yeah, tell everybody your website, and yeah, website so that they could check out your amazing work.
So we're at craftworksusa.com. We're on Instagram as well. Um, and yeah, we got a great website out there. Spent a lot of time working on that to showcase some of our projects.
Awesome. Hey, Bob, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to getting your story out to the Woodpreneur community.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.